Hello, Dutch football fans across the world. It is Football-Oranje, your home of Dutch football. I'm Michael Statham. I'm joined by Mike Bell and Abdul to talk about the Nations League draw. We saw that the Netherlands came out the hat with Hungary, Germany, and Bosnia. So we're here to get reaction. If you're watching live, drop us a live comment about your reactions to the draw. And if not, in the YouTube comments below, let us know what you're thinking. Also, thoughts ahead on the Euros too, with players coming in and out of contention for that. Mike, Abdul, how are you both, and what do you think?
Well, it could have been really a lot harder than this. I was afraid of having Portugal, France in the same group, but Portugal is not with us. Neither France. It's really relieving. Hungary and Bosnia, of course, we cannot underestimate the two teams since they are in League A, but still, I think we have the power to defeat them. Germany is not at their best right now, so maybe we can win the group. Not to mention that first and second will qualify this Nations League. So the chance of qualifying is really big. We have no excuse for not to qualify this time,
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's not the most exciting draw for neutral fans, but I think if you're a Netherlands fan, it's the draw that makes you think that they're going to get through pretty easily to the next round, I think. Don't want to underestimate Hungary too much. And I don't think Bosnia are in the best shape of recent years, and Germany are still not back to their best yet. So I think that Ronald Koeman and the KNVB were quite happy with this draw. Gives us a good chance to get to knockout rounds again and see how we can get there. It's going to be a longer tournament now that they've introduced a quarter-final to it. But yeah, I think that the Netherlands going into this should be looking for top spot, I think.
Yeah, that's totally realistic. But this is so far ahead with the other fixtures, and when you think about how teams can rise and fall in international football, I think you just don't know yet how good or bad a draw this could be. Like Hungary could fall way back down to the expectations they used to have on themselves, and maybe the Netherlands will do the same, or maybe they'll have a good period of their history. Seeing players like Brian Brobby come through at the minute, it looks really promising. That maybe he's a striker we've been waiting for. I think we've just got to talk about him, haven't we? We've not talked about the Netherlands in about a month on our podcast and YouTube channel. So what do we think about him at the moment coming through? He just looks so promising, thinking ahead to the Nations League. It's in the future. Could he grow into being that number 9, that first choice striker, guys?
Well, almost a year ago, after the World Cup, we were complaining for not having any strikers. We did not see any promising players. At that time, of course, Depay was injured. He just came back from injury. Gakpo wasn't really developed at that time. And look at us now. I mean, we have so many options, really. Brobby is a great option, of course. He is developing very quickly. And I think he will, or maybe he already has brought the attention of big clubs in Europe. And I think also there is a Xerxes as well. Not to mention that Depay also, he made a good comeback, scoring so many goals in the last few matches. So we really have a very promising attacking force in the team. That will be very good. About Brobby, there is a big chance he could make it actually in Europe if he continues, if he performs well in the Eredivisie and the Conference League, of course.
Yeah, I think for years you mentioned this in writing about it, the fact that Netherlands don't have any top quality strikers. Now it seems like they have 2, 3, 4 coming through, and Ronald Koeman actually has some options, and whether he actually picks the right options will remain to be seen. But I think Brobby, at the start of the season, were bemoaning the fact that his finishing was poor when he got through, and chances he was missing them, but he seems to have really sorted that out, and he's actually becoming quite lethal. And he's also assisting and using his strength as well to great use. So I think he is nailed on now to be in that Euro squad as long as he stays fit. And yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do up front. I know that Koeman said he doesn't want to start with 2 strikers, so it might not be Memphis and Brobby, but a Brobby sort of Gakpo combination up front, I think would be quite exciting to see. And I think when you have players like Xerxes and Memphis that you can bring on, I think, the Netherlands attack is actually looking promising for the first time in many years. I can remember since, the Van Persie versus Hunter days, there's not really been too many options. So, it's exciting to have this now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of excitement there. And just back to the draw then. Got a comment in saying none of the teams in that group are pushovers, but I think we're in a good position. I think we can win the group. Yeah, agreed. And if not, first, second place, that's got to be the target, hasn't it, from this? Koeman or not, of course, we don't know what his plans will be, or the KNVB's plans will be later on and down the line. How it gets on the Euros might be a big factor in that. Of course, this is a live show. We didn't expect people to come to this one. It's not after a game, our usual slot to get people in live. But if you are watching live, do give us a comment. And if not, again, comment down below. So what do we think of the three opponents individually? How do we see those? What kind of threats could they bring to the Netherlands? And or see it as, how can they make good opponents? A match against Germany is always good, isn't it? That it's going to bring a challenge for Netherlands that it normally would be a friendly, wouldn't it? And that's what the Nations League is here to replace, to give us a bit more of a competitive game.
Well, it's really too early now to make any judgments, since the first match is gonna be in September. So we're talking about almost 8 months from now or 7 months from now. It's a long time, especially after the Euro, Just to give an example for this, we did not qualify for the World Cup 2018. A few months later, we were leading the group of the Nations League, where we had Germany and France. So a lot of things can change in months, in a few months. But for the current situation, I did follow Hungary's result. It's a developed team, much better than where we defeated them, I think, 8-1. 8 years ago or 10 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. It's a much more developed team, but I think we do have the quality to defeat them. Bosnia, I'm not really sure how good the team is. I haven't been watching them, but as I mentioned earlier, as long as they manage to make it to League A, then it must be, that they must be developing. Germany is always Germany. Even if they don't perform well in Euro, even if they are getting knocked out from the early stages, it's always Germany. The matches between Holland and Germany are always tense. Germany is always a big name, no matter how bad it's performing.
Yeah, I think that Hungary, player-wise, I know at the start of their team's Szoboszlai is having a great season for Liverpool, so if you've got him in your team, then they've always got some sort of danger from scoring from distance. I think that they are a developing team. I know that they've come through the Euros, they're in this stage. So, I think that they are definitely ones that we need to look out for in this group. Germany, as I said, it's not a vintage Germany team. They're not filled with the star names anymore. And we don't even know who'll be coaching them, because after the Euros, who knows, it could be Jurgen Klopp if Nagelsmann leaves, so that could bring a different challenge depending on who's coaching the side. So right now there's a lot of question marks about these sides, and there's question marks about the Netherlands. We don't know what Netherlands will look like after the Euros and who'll be coaching them. So I think that after the big tournament in the summer, we'll be able to look closer at it and what this Netherlands side will be, because I think this Euros coming up will be the last tournament for some players. We might not see Weghorst after that. Daley Blind, you'd think that this is his last tournament if he makes it. And then you've got to look down the future and bring in the new talents that are coming through. So, I'm looking forward to the games, and it can't come soon enough. But I've got some bigger games ahead before then.
Mm-hmm. We just apologise for a few audio issues this evening. Mike, you've obviously had issues with your headphones. Don't know if it's worth just trying them again, just to avoid a bit of echo when you're talking as well. Sounds like talking in the Chamber of Secrets from Harry Potter film. We had a good comment as well about Weghorst. Who's going to tell about? We've got all these striker options now. But Mike, totally credible point. And I thought about the teams that are playing against as well. Yes, to get the competitive sort of friendly nature to it, but actually they're not all going to be exhausting. That's not, given that it's Group A. you haven't got everyone, all the top teams playing all the top teams, and actually having Hungary and Bosnia, who are good teams, it's not going to be on their knees after having to run a play France, say England and Germany all in one go. You get a bit more spread out. And a question about the formation again. Here we go. So, do you think we'll be able to play a proper? I mean, is this a 4-3-3 or is it a 3-3-4?
No, it's
a 3-3-4. 4-3-3.
4-3-3, I think. Yeah, we've never played 3-3-4.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
This is where we're going to test out Mike's headphones and see what he sounds like this time. Looks like clarification about the comment, by the way. Yeah. It is 4-3-3.
It is 4-3-3, yeah. Mike wants to say something, maybe? He can.
Drum roll, please.
Should I make my comment since Mike...
Go for it, yeah.
Yeah,
Mike, give us a thumbs up when he's ready.
Yeah, of course, now Koeman is really convinced that we should play with the 5-3-2 after the 3 consecutive defeats against France, Italy, France, Croatia, Italy, in the qualifier and in the Nations League. He was convinced of switching to 5-3-2, but he showed some flexibility of switching back to 4-3-3 whenever we have to attack, So I don't think he will start with the 4-3-3, even with the good opponents, not the world-class opponents like Hungary and Bosnia. He's going to start with 5-3-2. If it doesn't work, then he will switch to 4-3-3. I think with the quality we have now, we can play 4-3-3 in a good way. I mean, a few months ago, we were only talking about Frankie de Jong as the only good midfielder we have. Now we have Frankie de Jong. We have, of course, Reinders, even Veerman, he's doing great lately with PSV. He's playing a very high level in the Champions League as well. So I think with 4-3-3, we can play well. Of course, also we have very good attackers now. Dallinga, Brobbey, Xerxes, they are all promising. Alongside with, of course, the players that already proved themselves, like Gakpo, for example, Nawalang. So I really think we can play 4-3-3. But he will start with 5-3-2, in my opinion.
What about like 5-2-3? Because Koeman said about Memphis being like an option for the left wing, and if Brobbey's in the middle, which is seemingly his plan at the moment, or at least for the March friendlies, could that be something that he would consider, or do you see it being more like Brobbey and Memphis possibly being a 2 up top?
Well, he could play with 5-2-3 also. What I learned about Koeman in the previous matches is that he can switch to any other formation, any other lineup. I'm sorry to say this, but I thought he was very stubborn in the beginning, but he learned the lesson after the 3 consecutive defeats where we conceded many goals. We conceded like 11 goals in 3 matches against France, Croatia, and Italy. But now I think he will switch to 5-3-2, 5-2-3, maybe even a 3-4-3. It will not surprise me if he plays like that, really.
Mm-hmm. Have any look there, Mike?
I think I can hear you now. I don't know if you can hear me better. Hey, there you go.
Much better.
Welcome back.
Thoughts on the formation? Memphis and Brobbey up top?
Reading from what Koeman said when he was interviewed at the weekend, it sounded like, because you basically got asked about Memphis and saying that is he first choice striker, and he was like no, but that's only because he can play on the left. So the fact that he was mentioning the fact that he can play on the left makes me think that 4-3-3 is an option again. So I think he's going to test it out in these games, because he's now got a right winger when you've got somebody like Calvin Stengs playing well. And he's now got a left winger in Memphis and Gakpo. So I think with Brobbey and potentially Weghorst up front, then you can play 4-3-3 again. So I think he will test that out in the games next month to see if it works. And then he's always got 5-3-2 as a backup option.
Yeah. it's still the best way forward with the players that we've got. We keep saying it about the amount of defenders we've got. It's brilliant, and it's just about being creative with the forward options. I think you don't need a 4-3-3 to get the best out of those attackers. You can do it with a 5 and use the width. You've got Hartman and Dumfries now. I feel like we're getting off more of the Nations League stuff, more about general chit-chat about with players at the moment, selections, but actually these things are developing and changing already since the last time I spoke to you, Abdul, and I also spoke to you, Mike, about the Netherlands. Dumfries, for example, now getting benched, I've heard. He's not had many minutes at all. Like, what's going on there, and does that concern you?
Well, it does really concern me because he's been depending a lot on Dumfries in the previous matches. Even Van Gaal depended on Dumfries a lot in the World Cup. So it really makes me question why he's been benched, because I know that he's been performing well with Inter Milan as well. But anyway, I think Frimpong can do the job because many fans, many fans wanted Frimpong to be in that position as well. And sorry for switching back again for 4-3-3. We also have Timber, who's been performing very well as a midfielder. Weaver, who's been questioned by Atletico Madrid. They might even they are considering buying him. So we do have the luxury of so many midfielders. So maybe 4-3-3 always also will be a good idea. But about Dumfries, I'm not that concerned since Frimpong is always there.
Yeah, I agree with the comment that's just been put in there as well. That it seems that when Dumfries puts on a Netherlands shirt, he always performs. So I'm not really worried if he wasn't playing for Inter. It just means he'll be less tired when he comes on for Netherlands games. So yeah, I think he's still first choice at right back, and then Koeman's always got the options of Frimpong or even Geertruida, although I don't think any of us want to see really him start after previous performances, but he's always an option. He's always going to be there as an option. So yeah, it doesn't concern me at the moment. I think if it continued in the next few months, I don't think it will. I think he'll eventually get game time. So yeah, not at the moment. It's not that big a concern. And I think he'll leave in the summer anyway. I think he'll sell him somewhere. So for next season, I think he'll be playing regularly again.
I'm going to say England. That's where I'm saying. Let's put a few comments. Some people have joined us. Same with Depay, better than an orange shirt. Both have got something to prove.
Yeah.
Marsdown says, don't think Koeman is making Ryan as a starter. And we had someone saying hello. Hello. So with Bilo, here's the next one that was on my list in my head. Bilo's been injured now. He's going to be out injured now for possibly 2 months, but with Bilo, it could always be longer. He was so upset, wasn't he, when he was brought off the pitch? And for me, I don't think... I mean, it's probably two reasons. I don't think it was because he's going to miss some games of Feyenoord. I think it was either because he's mucked off with being injured yet again in his career and it feels out of his control. And number two, I do think it was Netherlands related, personally. He must have known when he'd done it that it was going to be a bad injury.
Yeah, but I think for him as well, just having 2-3 big injuries in a season, if you're Bio, you're probably looking at it like, this is the season I'm going to prove myself, so I get a big move abroad, and then he just keeps getting injured as well. I think he would have been looking at the summer thinking, this is my time to go to the next step, play at the Euros, make that big move. And yeah, he's got another injury. And now clubs are going to look at that. Clubs are going to say, he spent most of the season out. Is he reliable enough to buy? So it pushes his career back probably another year. Hopefully he's still back in time for the Euros. I definitely want him as one of the three that's in the squad. So yeah, it's a shame for him. Nobody likes to see that. And hopefully he does make a full recovery before the tournament, just like Noah Lang, who could also miss it because he's out until the last couple of games of the season as well.
Yeah, what is up with Noah Lang? Like, what was it? What even is the latest injury for him? Because with PSV, it felt like he was going to come in the autumn. He was going to come back, then didn't. Came back a bit, didn't he? And now his latest injury here, it seems a lot more serious.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike. It's okay.
All I saw is the reports yesterday were saying that PSV have sort of confirmed that if he's going to come back, it's going to be the last 2 games of the season. So it is some sort of muscle fit injury that he's got, and yeah, it's going to keep him out longer this time. And I think with the competition for places up front now, I can't see Lang getting taken if he doesn't come back sooner.
Well, the last 2 matches of the season is really too late. You know, he will not even play the friendlies that we have in March. So yeah, probably Koeman is not gonna choose him really, unless he make a very big surprise, a very big comeback in the last 2 matches. About Bailo, well, 2 months, that means he can come back on April, you know, and he will have time to prove himself in a month or a month and a half. Since Bailo always come back sharp, Michael. That's the good thing about him.
Yeah, he will. I know he will. But like Mike said, it's not going to prove him for a summer move now. And I really thought Bailo was going to come in and become the first choice goalkeeper ahead of Euros, which is why I brought him up. And it's an important position. Noppert held it last time because of a lack of competition. You see where he's gone now. And Verbruggen would have been the number one. Well, he will be the number one choice now, won't he? There was that doubt, though, that he's not playing every week. And he wasn't really keeping clean sheets to Brighton. I know he's had a couple now. But do we have enough confidence in him? Would we have preferred Bailo if he was fit for the rest of the season, in good form?
I think all the goalies we have now, we can have confidence in them, really. Maybe they're not really world class, but they are good. You know, we can depend on them. Even Flecken, I don't really have a problem seeing him as a starter. You know, he doesn't really make many mistakes. So I'm really fine with it, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I think that you've got 3 goalkeepers there that you could rely on. I think Flecken showed against Manchester City. I know he ended up losing, but you know, he used man of the match in that game, got an assist and made countless saves. And if he can prove himself like that in the Premier League, then he'll then move himself out the pecking order. And then when it comes to the summer, I don't think Koeman at the moment will have his first choice set. I think he'll wait till he has the training camp in the summer, look at him in action, speak to his goalkeeping coach, and then decide then. I think that's probably the defence, midfield, up top kind of settled. I think the goalkeeping issue at the moment is wide open. I think any of those 3 could go into Euros as the starter if Bailo comes fit.
Okay. Yeah, good competition anyway. And across the pitch now, there seems to be a wide range of options. We're talking about centre-backs coming out of our ears, good goalkeepers. We've got now better wing-back options. We're not relying upon Blint. Midfield is stacked. When Abdul and I were talking about the options for the Euros, Mike, we had just too many midfielders. It meant that like Vifa would miss out, or like Schouten. It just seemed peculiar that there were that many options. And then you're thinking in attack, we now have some more strikers, but I really want to see in March the lineup that Koeman's going to put out, and there is some confidence that he knows what he's doing with that. Because unfortunately, though, he doesn't really seem to be considering Xerxes anywhere near as much. Probably in some good form, and he's still my personal favourite to go on and be that striker. But Koeman just like really made his mind up already.
Well, maybe he will select him, but after all, he will not use him as a starter, you know?
Yeah.
I think Koeman will stick to the players he knows already. The players that with experience, like Depay, for example, he's gonna be 30 in the Euro, and as you guys said, with Oranje, he's been performing well, even if he doesn't perform well with his club. Koeman will depend on him. He might choose one new attacker to start with, maybe Brobbey, but Xerxes, there is a possibility that Koeman will select him, but not as a starter.
I think that Koeman's already been criticised for it, with shouting that he didn't pick him when he was at Bologna and he was playing really well. And it's the same with Xerxes. I don't think he'll see Bologna as being a club that's good enough to pay attention to at the moment, even though they're battling for a European spot in Serie A, mainly because of Xerxes' form. So I think Koeman's a bit stubborn. I think he's talked about wanting to keep the same players around, and I can't see him at this stage dropping Weghorst for Xerxes, even though I'd love to see it. I think everyone would love to see it. I think that he'll give Weghorst one more tournament, and then it'll be from the Nations League, World Cup qualifying onwards, that you'll see Xerxes come in. But then again, it'll be a case of, he waited until Xerxes got a move to a bigger club before he could then bring him into the national team, because he's going to go somewhere this summer, whether it's AC Milan, Juventus, or the Premier League. So it's annoying that he's not getting a chance, and I would like to see him in March, because we know what we're going to get from Weghorst. I don't really know what you'd learn from bringing him into 2 friendly games. But at this moment in time, given his comments on Sunday, I don't see Koeman picking Xerxes at the moment in his final squad.
Really interesting. Really interesting that could be the case. Of course, the season's still long, and another month's time, we could be having different conversations. And when it gets to May, June, we had a comment from John. Experience means Xavi Simons on the bench. Interesting. What are our thoughts?
No, he will depend on him. He's been given a big role to Simons, although he hasn't been proving himself with Oranje as much as he's been proving himself with his club. But Koeman showed us that he is depending on him. So I think he will be a starter. It's really a dilemma for Koeman. He has so many or so much quality, really, in the up front. Unlike before we were looking for some players that he can select, but now he really has the luxury of choosing many players. Choosing the players of many attackers that we have. So we totally forgot about Simons when we were talking about who will we have up front. So this is really good. It's a luxury we've been missing for a long time.
Yeah, I think there's not very many nations that you can talk about the Euros that'll be able to say they got, a front three as dynamic and probably as exciting as having Memphis, Brobbey, and Xavi Simons. I don't think there'll be many nations that will come up against that running at them. So yeah, I think it's great. And then you're missing out Gakpo as well there. So yeah, I think it's exciting times for the Netherlands attack at the moment.
Just need some results, don't we? Just need the prize to really come together and be one of the best teams in the tournament.
Well, I waited for 36 years to win something since '88. I don't mind waiting another 36 years, even if I die before the 36 years come,
Oh, Abdul bleeds orange, I'm telling you now.
I do.
We need to wrap this podcast up, guys, because I've got things to move on to this evening, playing football as I do on a Thursday. So final thoughts on the squad, on the Nations League draw itself, which was the purpose of this live podcast, but ended up turning into a chat about players instead, which is, it's normal. Because it's been on our minds, I think, hasn't it? But the Nations League draw is not as important as these Euros coming up. Any more thoughts?
Well, of course, Nations League is an important tournament. It is getting important and getting recognized by people year after year. It's the second biggest competition after the Euro. Now, of course, we have the Euro coming up before the Nations League, so we are all focused on that. But before that, of course, we will be focusing on the Dutch clubs in the Champions League, Europa League, and Conference League. This coming week, we will see Ajax and Feyenoord playing in the Conference and the Europa League. So we're going to switch our minds to that now.
Yeah, I think it's just nice to talk about the Netherlands again. You've got Euros coming up this summer. You've got this to talk about next month. We're going to get together again for the 2 friendlies. Yeah, it's going to be a big year. And then you've got the Nations League towards the end of the year. A big summer for Dutch players, with all the transfers coming up. So I think 2024 is an exciting year. And it's good to kick it off with a nice, kind draw for Netherlands in the Nations League. And hopefully that's a sign of things to come that, Netherlands are having some good luck ahead of the big tournament. So
hopefully.
It's always a nice way to finish. Thank you for your comment, John. Thank you very much for listening and wanting to join us as we talk about the Netherlands in the English language, which is a service we would happily provide for you. Of course, if you enjoyed this, click like on YouTube and go on our website, find some more content over there. Follow us on Twitter. Got our handles here if you want to come and find us. And more soon, we've got the games, like Mike said, coming up in March. There's lots of club football coming up. You know where to find some more podcast content on YouTube, plus also at other platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud. So more from us soon, and thanks everyone for watching.